you ever halted, even for a trembling breath, to ponder why certain truths about men and women lie entombed, choked by silence, mocked as blasphemy, or swept away in torrents of indignation? Why do we grip so tightly to the frail delusion that the sexes are mere vessels, shaped only by culture's hand, when the ceaseless churn of human nature, the sprawling tapestry of history, and the shadowed depths of the psyche howl a different song? Carl Jung, a fearless navigator of the soul's uncharted seas, refused to flinch from these enigmas. He dove into the collective unconscious, that vast, roiling cauldron of shared human essence, and emerged with a vision of men and women as bearers of eternal archetypes, the anima and the animus, twin currents surging through our fractured being. For Jung, women embody the anima, a primal, swirling force of intuition, connection, and unfathomable mystery, while men channel the animus, a restless blaze of reason, assertion, and outward conquest. Yet the anima is no tame spirit. It cradles light and shadow in a fierce embrace, weaving a web of power, enigma, and peril that both lures and repels. Within this archetype lies not just beauty, but secrets. Hidden corners, veiled wounds, and a darkness women guard with silent ferocity. These aren't passing traits or social stains. They're the raw, pulsing roots of something ancient, something we've smothered beneath layers of denial. Jung's gaze tears through our fragile illusions, forcing us to confront the brutal, radiant, and haunting reality of women. Their unseen depths, their shrouded dominion, their buried chaos. If he pierced the veil, what does this reveal about their place in our broken world? And what abyss yawns if we refuse to face their hidden truths? Jung didn't wield a blunt cudgel. His philosophy is a lantern, casting beams into the shadows we dread to name. He scorned shallow reductions, women as mere instinct, men as ambition's thralls, and charted the archetypes that thrum beneath our flesh, timeless patterns etched into the bedrock of the collective unconscious. His insights into gender weren't forged in spite or fleeting scorn, but in decades of sifting through the silt of dreams, unraveling the myths that echo across epochs, and tracing the symbols that tether humanity to its primal core. Yet his words strike like a lash. In an age drunk on the creed of sameness, Jung's assertion that men and women bear distinct psychic energies, intertwined yet unyielding, rings like rebellion. Women, through the anima, are the sentinels of the soul's unseen rivers. They divine truths beyond speech, weave life's threads with bonds that defy reason, and wield a depth that intellect stumbles to fathom. But this power is shadowed, elusive, wild, a tempest that can mend or maim. Men, propelled by the animus, wrestle chaos into order, chasing clarity through toil and triumph. These aren't trite masks. They're the breath of eternity in our divided bones. So we must dare to ask, are women's mysteries and men's drives mere fables we've spun, or do they rise from a well we can't cap? For Jung, humanity is a sundered whole, split between anima and animus, each sex bearing treasures the other can only mirror. Men, under the animus's iron yoke, thrust outward, erecting empires of brick and blood, crafting philosophies to tame the void, waging wars to carve their names into time's stone. Their hunger fuels progress, but it casts them adrift, forever seeking a peace that slips through their grasp like mist. Women, rooted in the anima, wield a subtler, deeper force. They anchor life's storm, stitching its chaos with relationships, communities, and the quiet arts of being. Yet Jung saw the anima's duality. Its nurturing touch can heal, but its shadow can bind. Its warmth can guide, but its chill can cage. Men chase the heavens, building spires to defy death. Women hold the earth, their influence a ripple that shapes the unseen, sometimes a snare that grips too tight. This isn't a clash of value, it's a polarity of essence. The animus ignites creation, the anima sustains life, and, at its darkest, subverts it. When we deny these tides, do we fracture the fragile dance that binds us? The anima's reign in women, Jung argued, is no loud clarion. It's a whisper that shatters crowns. Where men dominate through muscle or mind, women command through the psyche's twilight. Their intuition pierces masks like a blade. Their empathy bends wills without breaking them. Their beauty, a transient, piercing shaft, shifts fates with a glance. But this power has teeth. Jung saw the anima's shadow, the seductress who lures to doom, the manipulator who spins webs unseen, the nurturer who smothers in her clasp. These aren't mere slips, they're archetypes unleashed, dark sisters of the anima's grace. Look to history. Cleopatra, her charm a poison that toppled Rome. Delilah, her whispers stripping Samson bare. Anne Boleyn, her allure a spark that raised a dynasty's peace. Or the unnamed, mothers whose love became chains, lovers whose tears turned to knives, sisters whose silence wielded guilt like a scourge. Their might isn't the hammer, but the thread that pulls it, the gaze that unravels thrones. Men forge the world's bones, its laws, its engines, its towering dreams, but women shape its spirit, often from the edges. Their influence a current too subtle to chart, yet too fierce to defy. Power isn't just the scepter, it's the shadow that sways it. Can we face that this darkness still prowls our days, silent yet supreme? Time gouges their divide like a chasm. Men, Jung noted, are slaves to the future, haunted by legacies, goals, the eternal what might be. The animus drives them to trade the now for the then, to sacrifice sleep, health, even love for the ghost of something grander. They're the dreamers of distant summits, often deaf to the whispers of the present. Women, bound to the anima, dwell in the moment's pulse, nurturing, balancing, meeting life's demands with a rootedness that men might dismiss as small but Jung revered as vast. Yet this presence hides a labyrinth. Their focus can harden into obsession, their care twist into possession, their harmony shift into a yoke that binds. Jung didn't shy from this. The anima's immediacy can be a balm or a bane, a gift or a grip. Men stake their lives on abstractions, scaling cliffs of thought. Women cling to the tangible, sometimes clutching it with claws that won't yield, their hands weaving cradles as often as cages. One shapes history's sweep, the other its rhythm, and at times its fetters. Is it strength to seize the now, or folly to let it rule? Jung held the question like a flame, daring us to feel its burn. Love for Jung is no cheap slight. It's a sacred forge, a collision of anima and animus in their desperate reach for wholeness. He didn't shrink it to nature's whim, but exalted it as the psyche's quest. Attraction isn't chance, it's the soul's cry for its lost half. Men drawn to the anima's warmth and riddle, women to the animus's strength and sight. But this bond is a tempest as much as a bridge. The anima in women can enchant and engulf, luring men into depths they can't swim, while their own hunger for the animus can chain them to mirages of power they can't hold. Love isn't calm, it's a mirror, flashing our shadows as fiercely as our light. Jung knew it fades not because it's false, but because we flee its weight, chasing its shimmer instead of its soul. It's a road to the self, a gauntlet of growth. The anima's mystery promises infinity, but its darkness demands blood. Men lost in its undertow, women torn by its cost. Think of Tristan and Isolde, their passion a pyre, or Penelope, her fidelity a trap for suitors and self, or Romeo and Juliet, her anima a flame that consumed them both? Do we dare see love as a wound that heals, not a balm that blinds? Jung's stare into women's shadow, their dark side, is where his genius blazes. He didn't recoil from the anima's chaos, its irrational floods, its emotional gales, its silent tyrannies. In Psychology of the Unconscious, he charted how the anima, when buried or unseen, erupts as caprice, vengeance, or a grip that crushes what it claims to cherish. Women, tied to this archetype, can wield their relational mastery as a scourge, guilt a whip that stings, silence a knife that cuts, affection a leash that binds. Their mysteries aren't just alluring veils, they're labyrinths that trap, whirlwinds that wreck. Jung saw this in myth, the siren's song luring ships to splintered graves, the witch Circe turning men to swine, the goddess Eris sowing discord with a single apple. Or in life, the mother whose love devours independence, the wife whose tears drown dissent, the friend whose loyalty masks control. These aren't exceptions, they're the anima's feral edge, raw and relentless. To know women, Jung pressed us to face this shadow, not to damn it, but to dance with it. Only then can their light, their power to mend, to intuit, to bind, shine without twisting into ruin. Their darkness isn't a stain to scrub, it's a force to wrestle. Are we bold enough to meet its eyes? The anima's mysteries plunge deeper still, a chasm Jung only grazed, and here lies the heart of what women conceal. In Symbols of Transformation, he wrote of their tie to the primal, birth, death, the cycles that hum beneath civilization's drone. Women, he hinted, are nearer the collective unconscious than men, their intuition a wire to its depths, their dreams a kaleidoscope of symbols men strain to read. This closeness makes them seers of the unseen, but also conduits of its anarchy. Their emotions, Jung observed, can shift like the sea, still one moment, raging the next, not from frailty, but from a visceral link to life's raw core. We label it madness, hysteria, weakness. Jung called it the anima's tongue, speaking truths intellect can't cage. But what do they hide in this depth? Their secrecy, he suggested, is a fortress built to shield what's sacred or to bury what's broken. In Ion, he casts women as the great mother, creator and devourer, life and doom entwined. Think of Demeter, her grief starving the earth, or Kali, her dance a slaughter. This duality defies mastery, slipping through the animus's net. Their power isn't just sway, it's a tide that can sweep all away. Or consider the everyday, the woman whose silence unnerves a room, whose glance unravels a lie, whose mood shifts the air like a storm's edge. These are the veils they draw, over fears, over wounds, over a chaos they dare not unleash. Do we dare swim in this current, or do we cling to the shore? The corners they conceal stretch further, into realms Jung barely named but felt. Women's capacity for vengeance, he noted, can burn colder than men's, less a blaze of fists, more a slow poison of the soul. In the archetypes and the collective unconscious, he hints at their knack for holding grudges not as outbursts, but as buried embers, flaring years later with surgical precision. Their empathy, a gift, can invert, reading others not to heal, but to wound where it cuts deepest. Their relational web, meant to connect, can tighten into a snare. Think of the friend who knows your secrets and wields them, the lover who binds with invisible threads, the mother who guards her child's soul until it withers. Jung saw this in the femme fatale archetype. Carmen, her dance a death knell. Salome, her desire a head on a platter. Medusa, her gaze a stone curse. These aren't mere tales, they're the anima's hidden claws, the secrets women cloak in silence. What do they guard? Their vulnerability, perhaps, the fear of being seen too clearly, the dread of losing the power their mystery grants. Or their rage, a quiet fury at a world that demands they nurture while it binds them. Their mysteries aren't just depth, they're danger, a riddle that kills if misread. Yet Jung didn't judge. He beckoned us to integrate, to see the shadow as part of the whole. Their chaos is their strength, their darkness their crown. Can we face it without flinching? But the anima's hidden corners run deeper still, into the secrets women bury even from themselves. Jung saw their tie to the unconscious as a double-edged blade. They feel its currents more keenly, but they also bear its weight. In the Red Book, he wrestled with his own anima, a figure of beauty and terror, revealing how women might harbor inner voices they dare not name, fears of inadequacy, of being too much or too little, of a power they can't control. Their secrecy isn't just a shield, it's a tune for the parts they reject, the anger they swallow, the desires they stifle, the wildness they leash. Think of the woman who smiles while her heart seethes, who comforts while her soul screams, who loves while her shadow plots. Jung saw this in the archetype of the Dark Mother, Hecate, lurking at crossroads with her unseen hounds, or Lilith, cast out for her refusal to bow. These figures embody what women hide, a rebellion they cloak, a strength they fear, a darkness they bury beneath duty. In life, it's the wife who masks her resentment with devotion, the daughter who buries her defiance in silence, the friend who conceals her envy with praise. What drives this concealment? Shame, perhaps, or survival, a need to wield power without breaking the fragile order they uphold. Do we dare peel back these layers, or do we let them fester unseen? The anima's mysteries deepen further when we probe what women shield from the world. Jung hinted at their role as keepers of the sacred, intuition as a priestess's gift, emotion as a ritual fire. But this sanctity comes with a price. They guard it by hiding their own fractures. In Psychology and Alchemy, he links the anima to the alchemical vessel, holding life's chaos but cracking under its strain. Women, he suggested, conceal their fragility, not just physical, but psychic. The terror of losing those they bind, the exhaustion of feeling too much, the dread of their own depths. Think of the mother who hides her tears to seem strong, the lover who buries her doubts to keep peace, the leader who masks her uncertainty with grace. Or in myth, Persephone, her descent a secret kept from the sun, Isis veiling her grief to rebuild Osiris. These aren't just stories, they're the anima's silent burden, the corners women seal shut. Why? To protect? Yes, but also to preserve the illusion of control, to keep the world from seeing the chaos they cradle. Their power isn't just influence, it's a mask over a storm. Can we bear to lift it, or do we fear what lies beneath? The anima's hidden recesses stretch into the unspeakable, the corners women guard with their lives. Jung saw their tie to the unconscious as a wellspring of creation, but also of destruction they dare not loose. In Mysterium Coniunctionis, he explores the anima as a bridge to the divine, yet a gate to the infernal. Women, he implied, conceal a primal rage, a fury at being bound, at being seen as less, at bearing life's weight while men chase its glory. This rage festers in silence, cloaked in smiles, buried in acts of care. Think of the woman who serves while her soul rebels, who nurtures while her heart curses, who waits while her shadow sharpens its claws. Jung saw this in the terrible mother archetype, Tiamat, her chaos birthing the world only to destroy it. Echidna, mother of monsters lurking in shadow. In life, it's the grandmother whose bitterness seeps through her tales, the sister whose kindness hides a grudge, the stranger whose eyes flash with unspoken fire. What do they hide? Their power's cost, the toll of holding life together, the scars of bending to a world that demands their light but fears their dark. Do we dare name this fury, or do we let it simmer in the void? Society, Jung held, rises or falls on the dance of anima and animus. Women's anima brings unity, knitting families, softening rifts, threading humanity's spirit through time. Men's animus brings form, taming wildness, stretching horizons, driving us skyward. But the anima's shadow can fracture this. Its emotional pull can swamp reason, its need for peace can stifle risk, its mysteries can sow doubt. Today, women lead wars in boardrooms, men rock cradles, yet the archetypes endure, flexing but firm. The old strains persist, politics swayed by pathos, relationships choked by unspoken reins, cultures wrestling with the anima's dual breath. Has this shift steadied us, or unleashed the anima's wilder waves? Jung might say we're still groping to balance, to let women's depths enrich without drowning. The anima doesn't fade. It haunts our songs, our battles, our quiet terrors, a shadow we can't exile. Their secrets, their hidden corners, ripple through, unseen hands shaping what we dare not see. Jung's vision endures because it rends our flesh. We preach sameness, but he saw distinction, not as fetters but as gates to the soul's expanse. The anima in women, luminous, shadowed, untamable, holds truths we've chained in darkness. Are their depths, their darkness, their rule mere habits we've bred, or do they roar from a source we can't quench? Jung leaned toward the eternal, sculpted by culture but never its thrall. Deny this, he'd warn, and we reap ruin. Relationships buckle under false veils, societies lurch in forced fusion, individuals drift from their moorings. Women's mysteries aren't knots to untie, but storms to ride, with awe, with fear, with a will to see their shadow as fiercely as their dawn. Men and women may never meld in mind, in want, in essence. Their psychic seas run too deep, their shadows too vast. To stand as one, we must first stand apart, unveiled, unyielding, unafraid of the void that yawns between, and the secrets it whispers.